Many people suffer from poor scapular muscle activation and mobility. In this video, you're going to learn a common mistake people make when working the scapular muscles and a simple drill to get all of your scapular muscles fired up and working through their full range of motion. Yo, what's up? Coach E here from Precision Movement, and today I've got an awesome drill to get all of your scapular muscles fired up, activated, and working through their full range of motion. But before we get to that, I just want to know, do you have any specific issues with your scapula or scapular muscles? And if you do, just leave a comment down below and let me know what it is, and I'll look through that and see if there's some topics that I should do a future video on. Okay, so just leave your comment down below. Now let's get into the drill. The drill that I got for you today is called three-way scap circles. And you may have seen scap circles before, or taught scap circles before, but often they're taught in a very lazy way. It's basically just move your scapula around, move your shoulders around in circles, and there's your scap circle. There's some subtle technical cues that are super important that when you do them will activate the muscles properly, fully activate all of the scapular muscles, and get you working through the full range of scapular movement. Okay, so those two cues are keep the elbows locked out, so get some tricep activation there. And before you even do the second point, I want you to try that. So lock the elbows out, make sure they don't bend at all, and just work yourself through the full range of scapular motion. And what you'll notice is there's some areas where you feel like you've never been before, especially in elevation and protraction. Okay, so that's super important. Lock out the elbows throughout and even overemphasize that a little bit. Okay, that'll make sure that you're isolating the scapula and getting those scapular muscles active. The other cue is to make sure that the spine is staying in neutral. So especially when you're going into protraction, the tendency is to go to forward head, flexion of the thoracic, and even lumbar spine, like that. If you find you're doing that, then when you go into protraction, think of actively pulling your chin in, tucking your chin, giving yourself a double chin. So elevate, protract, tuck that chin in, get long through the spine. And that's going to isolate or stabilize the spine and isolate the movement to the scapula. Okay, so those are the two important technical cues to remember when you're doing the movement throughout the movement. To do the movement, what you've got to picture is picture a circle, and when you're working in that circle, you're trying to dig the circle out so that you're stuck in the middle of the circle and you're trying to dig yourself out, and the circle's getting bigger and bigger in each direction. Whenever you're moving, there's two force vectors. One is the isometric force vector. So when I'm in retraction, I'm still trying to retract even though I'm at the end range of motion. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm still activating those muscles. And then there's the movement vector, which is elevation. So I'm trying to retract, I'm not going anywhere, there's no more retraction, but I'm elevating. Now I'm at full elevation. I protract and I keep trying to elevate even though I'm not going anywhere as I'm moving into protraction. Now depression. I'm protracting as the scapula is moving into depression. And then once I'm at max depression, I keep trying to depress the scapula as I retract. So there's always two movements. There's the isometric force, and then there's the dynamic movement force vector. Remember that as you're going through that circle. You're always trying to expand that circle from the inside out. Okay, so the drill, we've gone through it already basically, but it's in each direction. You're going to go through the full range of scap circles, going nice and slow, really experiencing that range of motion, especially the ranges where you're uncomfortable and unfamiliar with. And you do 3 reps, 3 circles in one direction. That was 2, but let's say it's 3. And then 3 circles in the other direction. Keeping the elbows locked out and the spine tall and in neutral. You might hear some crunching and clunking. That's totally okay as long as there's no acute pain, no radiating pain, no tingling, no sharp pain. Okay? So that's your standard scap circle, just standing, open chain movement. That's what you want to focus and work on until you feel like you've got the full range, you're working through the full range, and you're able to isolate the scapula, keep the elbows locked out, keep the spine in neutral. Once you've done that, let's add the other two ways to make this three-way. The first way is the hinge. So you're going to hinge like a deadlift or a stiff leg deadlift, keeping the spine neutral and just letting the arms hang. Here, because the arms are dropped and I'm fighting gravity here, it's going to put more of the focus on the retractors. So the rhomboids, middle traps, lower traps, those muscles. So here, same thing, retract. Now I elevate and I'm still continuing to try to retract. And then I elevate and protract. And then as I'm protracted, I depress. And you'll find it feels a little bit different because of now gravity is acting on the scapula in a different way. So again, 3 circles in one direction, 3 circles in the other direction, keeping spine in neutral and elbows locked out. After that, go down to the floor. And you can start off in the 4-point position. So 4-point here, now I'm pushing my body away from the floor. We're focusing more on the protractors. So you're targeting the serratus anterior and the pecs a little bit more. Again, same thing. Elbows locked out. Retract, elevate, protract, depress, retract, full range, pull yourself right through, elevate, protract, depress, and then switch directions. Again, think of 2 force vectors, expanding that circle, digging it out, keeping the elbows locked, and the spine in neutral. So there you have 3-way scap circles. Really simple drill, but applying those technical cues makes it difficult, as you'll see once you try it. This drill, I like to use it as part of a warm-up, and even when I'm just sitting there in line waiting for the teller to check out everybody in front of me in the grocery store, it's something that you can do and you don't look too crazy. You look a little bit crazy, especially when you get up in here, but that's fine. Crazy is good. Different is good, okay? So it's something that you can do all the time, different positions, activate those muscles, but definitely use it in your warm-up because the scapula is the key to shoulder stability. If your scapular muscles aren't activated, aren't working properly, then your shoulders aren't going to be stable and you're going to run into shoulder issues like I mentioned before, impingement, rotator cuff tendonitis, and nasty things like that. Okay, so make sure you do that 3 reps in each direction, so forward, backwards, in all 3 positions. Do 1 set of that, and your scapular muscles are going to be fully activated and ready for you before your workout. Okay, so hopefully that is a drill that if you've seen it before, you see it in a new way, and it feels new and different and more beneficial for you. If you've never done it, start doing it like I showed you here, and you're going to really benefit. Okay, and I have a program that is really all focused on the scapula, getting it moving properly and building up its strength so that it provides your shoulder with the stability it needs to lift heavy weights overhead, throw things super fast, punch people really hard. Whatever it is you do with your shoulders, the Scap Strength program will help support you and your goals there. So you can check that out at the link at the end of this video and in the description down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching and tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Peace.